Hello once again, Kevin Turner from Real Estate Talk. You know, young people are different today. They seem to me to be more driven, willing to take risks and understand what's needed to secure their future. Now, maybe they learned that from their parents. I'm not quite sure. Or maybe they've just got access to more information. I know that this is a bit of a generalisation, but a really good example of this is an article that's featured in the December edition of Australian Property Investor magazine, where Shannon Malloy, in fact, spoke to 5 youngsters with a very firm view on the future. One of those joins me right now, Phillip Hoare. Hi, Phillip.
Kevin, how are you?
Mate, very well. Thank you for taking part in this special broadcast. A bit of information about you that you can actually pick up in Australian Property Investor magazine about Phillip. He's 24. You don't look a day over 21, actually, Phillip.
Oh, very kind of you, thank you.
Yeah. He has 6 properties worth about $4.1 million and projected yield of 6.6%. Well done, mate. I can see that you're at work as we speak to you. You're obviously able to juggle these 2 careers.
Yeah, it's all happening. It's what I enjoy, so I just see it as every day as it comes.
In the article, mate, I read there that you're aspiring to be a pilot. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But you've taken up an apprenticeship. What are you doing?
I finished school at 15 and was given an ultimatum by my dad, basically do an apprenticeship or move out. So quite fortunately, I was pushed in the right direction and ended up finding myself originally doing a traineeship in metal fabrication, which then led on to ultimately finalising a trade as a first-class welder. So whilst not directly related to what I'm doing now, it certainly pushed me in that general direction.
So that background has helped you in putting this portfolio together?
It has. Basically, my apprenticeship originally consisted of building steel frame wall panels and trusses for buildings. So we were involved in the construction side of things. And basically, I saw that it was easier to build the houses than it was to make the components of it. And later on, throughout my trade, working in the field itself, I went on to obviously study for my builder's license and ultimately achieve the license itself.
Now, your dream, of course, was to become a commercial pilot. Did you start your training at that?
I got my private pilot's license when I was 15, got my commercial license when I was 18, and ended up in Darwin, as most pilots do, and found out very quickly, I should say, that the insurance requirements are a lot more than what the actual license is itself. So, pretty much knocked on everyone's door when I got here. Did a few odd jobs cutting grass for different aviation companies and washed planes, and didn't end up getting my. I got some hours with a couple of different organisations, but ultimately didn't end up where I wanted it to.
Has that been hard for you to push that away? Because obviously those kinds of dreams never really go away, do they?
No, not at all. Once I got into building, originally the bulk majority of our work was with Northern Territory Government, Australian Government, Power and Water, and various different government departments and shire councils. And with the remote nature of the Northern Territory, we found ourselves doing, I've still got projects on today as far south as Mount Isa, all the way down to Alice Springs, out to the various islands, all Aboriginal community work. And having my pilot's license, and at the time we've been leasing a plane. So I'm still flying, still actively flying, but I'm paying for it myself and not relying on someone else to pay for it for me.
Fair enough. Now, you mentioned you're in Darwin. I understand that you've done a lot of investing in the Palmerston area, which is probably one of the fastest growing areas in the country. Do you think that market is sustainable?
Put it this way, Kevin. I received an email yesterday at 2:00 for a new housing release in Durack Heights. I rang the agent who's handling the estate at 2:21, and he told me that out of the 40 blocks there were 4 left. So it's still booming. It was booming up until yesterday, at least. And from what I can see, from the amount of work that's actually going on, the contracts that are being awarded in both the small scale and the large scale, the industry's strong. Housing's just going absolutely crazy. There's a good steady flow of land coming onto the market, and I just think from here on out we've got a good solid 7, 8 to 10 years of growth.
It's a great read in Australian Property Investor Magazine. Part of that too sort of leads me into my next question. Just keen to get your thoughts on the benefits or the difficulties of being both the builder and the client.
Yeah, I'll mention the finance side of things in a minute, but the biggest hurdle that I have myself, being that it's something that I really enjoy, it's over-capitalising on properties. I find that once I get in and get the plans drawn and really sink my teeth into building it, I find that I'm always stuck with upselling myself, whether I want to put glass splashbacks, whether I want to put skirt tiles, whether I want to do shadow line cornice, stainless steel outdoor settings, outdoor joinery, all that sort of thing. Whether I want to put a pool, whether I go colour-bond fencing or chain mesh fencing, there's so many options. So as the owner and the builder myself, I struggle at times to keep the property within a budget. I've learned that there's certain things you need to do before you start, like signing a contract with yourself that you're not going to increase the value of it any more than what you've allowed. And from a finance point of view, the owner builder scenario is tricky. There are ways that you can work with the system to make it more beneficial for yourself. But up until now, we haven't had any great hurdles. Mainly because I've been fortunate to be in a position where I can put a 20% cash deposit up front.
Yeah. You mentioned in there about budgeting, tight budgeting. I know personally you've got a very tight budget. Is that just one of the sacrifices you make, and how tough is that?
Look, it can be tough. It's something that I set myself a long-term goal, and it was something that I needed to do ultimately to achieve it. So my personal finance side of things does leave it quite tight, in saying that I just had a case of red wine turn up on my doorstep. So I'm not living an ultimate hard life, but yeah, look, definitely sacrifices that need to be made. There's dinners that you can't go to. There's concerts that we just don't have the luxury of attending. But ultimately, I think in the long term, it's going to be well worth it.
Yeah, well, talking about long term, you plan to fully own 10 houses in 10 years' time. Are you on track to do that?
I'd like to think so, Kevin. At this stage, with all our projections, it'll be 10 houses paid off in 10 years. We've formulated a strategy. I think that will get us there. Nothing creative, nothing out of the ordinary, just hard work. Get in, build the houses, sell what we can, and ultimately just pay cash for each house as it comes along.
Phillip, it's been great talking to you. Thank you for sharing some time with us and all your knowledge. All the best for the future.
Appreciate your time. Thank you, Kevin.